There is an object out there so large that if it swallowed the sun tonight, you would not see it happen. Not the way you imagine. There would be no wall of fire, no roar, no shadow sweeping across the sky. The edge of this thing is wider than the orbit of every planet. Every world, every spacecraft we have ever launched, even the two Voyager probes, half a century into the dark, would already be inside it. So here's the strange part. If you were falling into the largest black hole we know of, how would you even know the moment you cross the line you can never come back from? Tonight we go to the edge of what a black hole can be. Its name is TON 1618. It is a quasar, a black hole feeding so violently that it blazes brighter than 100 galaxies, seen from more than 10 billion light years away. And at its heart sits a mass that pushes the limits of physics itself, roughly 66 billion times the mass of our sun. To put that in one image, the event horizon of TON 618, the boundary of no return, is about 2,600 astronomical units across. Neptune's entire orbit is 60. The whole planetary solar system would fit inside this single black hole thousands of times over. Numbers this large stop meaning anything. The mind simply slides off them. So we are not going to list facts. We are going to walk up to this thing one step at a time until you can almost feel how big it is. This is not a story about violence. It is a story about scale so vast it becomes gentle, and that gentleness is the most unsettling thing about it. To understand TON 618, you have to climb, start at the bottom. When a giant star dies, its core collapses into a black hole around 10 times the mass of the sun. These are the small ones, the ones we detect when they collide and shake space-time itself. Now step up. At the center of our own galaxy sits Sagittarius A star, 4 million solar masses, a black hole the Event Horizon Telescope photographed in 2022. Step up again. In the galaxy M87, there is a monster of 6.5 billion suns. The first black hole ever imaged in 2019, that famous orange ring. Each of these felt impossible when we found it, and each is dwarfed by what comes next. TON 618 is not 4 million, not 6 billion. It is 66 billion solar masses. The photographed giants are the warm-up. This is the headline act, and every rung on this ladder is real and measured. Here is the paradox. A black hole gives off no light. So how do we weigh one sitting 100 billion trillion kilometers away? The answer is the irony at the center of this whole story. The darkest objects in the universe are found by their light. TON 618 is surrounded by a disk of gas spiraling inward, crushed and heated by friction until it glows. An accretion disk radiating like more than 100 trillion suns. That glow is what makes it a quasar, and it reached us across more than 10 billion years of travel. Astronomers read the light of gas whipping around the core, moving at thousands of kilometers per second, and from that speed they calculate the mass holding it in orbit. The number that comes back is 66 billion. Think about what that means. The heaviest object ever measured, and no telescope has ever caught a single photon from the thing itself, only from the wreckage of everything it has ever eaten. We have never seen the black hole. We have only seen how hard it pulls, and that is enough. Now imagine you are falling toward it. Your instinct says a bigger black hole means a more violent death. Your instinct is wrong. Fall toward a small stellar black hole, and you are destroyed long before you reach it. The difference in gravity between your head and your feet becomes so extreme that you are stretched into a thread. Physicists call it spaghettification. And it happens far outside the horizon. But TON 618 is so large that its pull is nearly uniform across your whole body. The tidal force at the horizon actually gets weaker as the black hole gets bigger. So you would cross the event horizon of TON 618 feeling almost nothing. No wall, no shutter. The stars ahead would still be there. You would sail across the most important line in the universe, the boundary past which no signal, no light, no you can ever return, and you would not feel the moment it happened. The monster is the softer death, but feeling nothing does not mean nothing has changed. Past the horizon, Space itself is no longer still. Think of it as a river, space-time flowing inward and beyond the edge. That river runs faster than light can swim. This is why you cannot escape. It is not that the exit is locked. It is that every direction you could point, every possible future, now leads deeper in. And because TON 618 is so vast, you would have time to notice. Inside a stellar black hole, you would have a fraction of a second. Inside this one, you could have days, days of ordinary time, drifting toward a center you cannot see. Look back, and the entire outside universe would be squeezed into a shrinking, brightening ring above you. Every star you ever knew, compressed into a single point of light, slowly closing. That is the last thing anyone falling into TON 618 would ever see. And here the science turns genuinely strange. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, but the light from TON 618 is more than 10 billion years old, meaning this black hole was already 66 billion solar masses when the cosmos was barely 3 billion years old. That should not be possible. Black holes grow by feeding, and there is a speed limit to feeding. The more a black hole eats, the more its own radiation pushes the next meal away. At that limit, you simply cannot build a 66 billion sun black hole in the time available. So the honest answer is, we are not sure how it got so big, so fast. The leading ideas are dramatic. Perhaps it did not start from a dying star at all, but from a giant cloud of gas collapsing directly into a massive seed. Perhaps it fed in violent bursts, faster than the limit allows. Or perhaps smaller black holes merged again and again in the crowded early cosmos. Whatever the answer, TON 618 is telling us that the universe found a way to build giants far quicker than our models predict. And that is a clue about how the very first galaxies were born. TON 618 is not just a record, it is an open problem, still unsolved. So how big can a black hole get? There is an answer, and it is close to home. Above a certain mass, a black hole's own glare blows away the gas it would need to keep growing. Theory puts that ceiling somewhere around 10 to 100 billion solar masses. TON 618, at 66 billion, sits right up against the edge of what is physically allowed. We may be looking at nearly the largest thing the universe knows how to build. And then at the very end of everything, even this will die. In the deep future, long after the last star has burned out, black holes will slowly leak away as Hawking radiation, evaporating one photon at a time. For a black hole this size, that process takes something like 10 to the 100 years, a 1 followed by 100 zeros. Long after every star has died, long after every smaller black hole has evaporated, this one will still be here, bleeding away into the dark with unimaginable slowness. TON 618 will be among the very last objects left in the cosmos. The final light in a dark universe will be the ghost of the largest thing that ever was. That is what makes TON 618 so haunting. It is not the fire. It is not the violence. It is a size we can write down on a single line. 66 billion suns, and never truly hold in the mind. Big enough to swallow a solar system without a ripple. Old enough to break our theories of how it grew. Patient enough to outlast the stars themselves. The universe built something at the very edge of its own rules, 10 billion years ago, and left it burning in the dark for us to find. And it is still out there, right now, keeping score.